People, welcome man, welcome again, man. Thanks for being here again. Yeah, the Nicardo Media House there, the morning inside. I bless up on yourself. Thanks for tuning back again. Good day to everybody. Bless up to the ones that in the US, as I know it's a holiday, the Memorial Day, but it's a regular day back home in Jamaica. But loads of football play over the weekend. Reggae players, in some crucial game, over the weekend as well. We saw a potential reggae player that someone that can represent us in the future. Tyrese, Campbell got the shock of him life after, he put Sheffield United in front versus Sunderland at Wembley Stadium. They got the shock of their life as well. Lost that game 2-1. We saw young Kaheim Dixon, the Charlton Athletic Academy prodigy. Karoy Anderson, new player that on the block for the Reggae Boys, Tyrese Campbell as well. We saw them, yeah. And you will say, look, it's a massive win for them in the League One playoff, get into the championship as well. But that's what I'm going to talk about as well. But again, people, remember, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be right here back after this.
Promotion to the championship, how does that feel?
Feels wonderful, incredible, greatest feeling ever. Yeah.
And to do it with the club you've come up through the ranks with as well.
But yeah, I'm just grateful to God that obviously I've been in this environment with this club, with these people, very good people, and good fans, good environment, and to go out with this club that I've been with from 8 years old is just like a surreal feeling. So yeah, it's incredible.
What was it like coming into such an intense game as well, midway through the second half?
I think, obviously at the beginning of the game you're feeling a bit of nerves, but once you get on the pitch it's just about getting the job done and just adding to the game, so it wasn't too bad.
Does it mean more doing it alongside your mate TC as well?
It means everything honestly, to even some of the academy lads that didn't make the squad, for them to be around and share this moment with them is special.
Tyrese, how does it feel for yourself?
Yeah, best feeling, good feeling, happy.
What's it like playing out on that Wembley pitch, man? There's so much pressure on you.
Yeah, it's good feeling. The last time we both came here was sitting in the stands and they got promoted, so it's nice to be a part of it this time.
Yeah, and you saw back in 2019 the power of the Charlton fans, and you saw it again today.
Yeah, they were good today, helped us a lot.
Has it sunk in? Championship football next season?
Nah, not yet, maybe later.
Yeah. Enjoy it.
But look, the playoff, that League One playoff between Charlton Athletic, yes, that League One playoff between Charlton Athletic, what a game, with Leighton Hurrian, what a game. And I would say I want to start off with this. Kyle Dixon, we know the story of him not featured, in the first team for Charlton, more on the academy side. But can this be a step in the right direction? There's so many things can come from this Charlton Athletic, promotion to championship. Look, I'm going to lay out a few stuff. Charlton Athletic got promoted to championship. Kaheim Dixon struggling to break into the first team. This can be a downfall and this can be a step in the right direction. Though it can be a downfall by him get overlooked in a higher division where the manager will be on a lot of fire. Yeah, you'll be on a lot of pressure to keep this team up in the championship. And he can go on to lose his job in the first couple of months just in charge in the championship. So it's football is a very cruel sport. You win, you lose a draw, you just don't know what can happen. And if you look at it, start of the start of the League One campaign, who would have predicted that Charlton would be that third team to get promoted to the championship with Wrexham and Birmingham? Look, Leighton Orient, Wickham, I think those two teams are more, consistent, were the better team overall, but Charlton had just had that prolific run where the momentum just carried them through, and they just the better team, even, the last 3-4 games of their season. They had so many, tough teams, Wrexham, Wickham, and they all went through, that barrier and they beat those teams. If they don't win, they got positive result that would lead them into the playoff, to do the magnificent job that Nathan Jones did, yesterday as well in that final. But it can be a curse and it can be a blessing for Kaheim Dixon because the team will go higher, the level will step up, the manager will recruit more players. But I saw an interview that he did with a radio, I think it's from Yorkshire, that radio program, and he said he don't want to, over overwhelm the team with too much new players, coming in the summer transfer, but he would like to add a few pieces, experienced players, players that can keep them in the championship, players that can help them to compete and still manage the philosophy of Charlton Athletic by bringing through young players same way. And I'm hoping that Dixon is the one that can get promoted to the senior team, even if we say he's going to be amongst the senior team day in and day out and might play a few games for the academy, but he will be more amongst the big players. That will be a big step up. It will be another level for him. It will just enhance his the learning curve of him trying to get to that first team setup, and be around that first team setup will be a blessing for him. But it still can be a curse where the manager might lose it, the manager might change, and the next manager might not fancy him and start to bring a different direction of players in, and he might get lost in the system until then you found out that his contract run out, and then he get released from the club. So it can be a different set of scenarios that can happen with this Charlton Athletic promotion. But for Karoy, a young player that came through the ranks last season, this is his second full season as a pro. It's not the best, but he was on and off. He get his time in the starting level. He do what he can do to the best of his ability. But I think he need to sharpen up. He's the one that going to have to need to knock on the door some more. He needs to step up in big moments. He need to be a little bit more consistent when he get his opportunity. But Tyrese Campbell, look, this player, everyone said he has great potential, can be in a Premier League team, can get game in the Premier League, but this will be the test for him. This will be the right test for him. World Cup here, he will be competing at a very, very, good level. Can this be the stepping stone that really can enhance his career and bring him to that next level? Wonder if this is a player that can help Charlton Athletic stay up in the championship, as that will be, their season next coming up in the championship, to stay up, stay alive, build on that, be a regular championship team. And again, you don't know if this team can be, the Ipswich under Kieran McKenna, where they get promoted from League One, they get promoted from Championship and go to the Premier League, and then where Kaheim Dixon would be from there. I'm just saying there's so many stuff can happen, but the Wembley, winning a trophy at Wembley, it's a massive, massive thing on your resume. It doesn't matter if he don't play much games, for the senior team, but for him to sit down in Wembley Stadium, inside that big old gigantic stadium, and watch Charlton Athletic, yeah, beat Leyton Orient in that final, that should be a big motivation going forward. That look, I want to have this joy, I want to have this experience, and he needs to work, even if it takes for him, to let Steve McCarron say, hey, I want to, skip the Gold Cup this season, but I know you is still there, at the national team. It's the level of competing, the level of keeping your spot in the national team. It's going to be very high, because if you look at the roster, if those players that got named in the Gold Cup 60-man roster, he will be up for a challenge to get in a 23-man squad going forward for any camp. So he want to be there. No, he's a local player, born and bred in Jamaica, want to represent the national team. But at the other side is, if it's more beneficial for his career, his club career, where if he can get into the Charlton Athletic team just by playing, in summer preseason, be there from scratch until end of preseason and then the start of the new championship season. The coach maybe can see him a lot more better, prove a point in preseason when it comes, when it matters most. And you just never know if he can be one of what, if he can be in the 18-man squad going forward. Because look, the coach going forward, he will need definitely 18 to 20 players that he can trust in the championship, because the championship, again, you can lose it at a quick succession of rate, where you just start to lose 1, 2, 3 games and you just go on to lose the dressing room. So he's going to need players that he can trust. Can Kaheim Dixon, or will Kaheim Dixon be amongst Charlton Athletic team moving forward in the preseason from start to the end and change the mind of Nathan Jones and the perspective of how Nathan Jones look at him. That, oh, this is a youngster that he look hungry. He want to be in the team and give him the opportunity. And if he get that opportunity in the championship, yeah, he should go on and he must take that opportunity. And then if he's breaking through the Charlton Athletic Championship team, in the championship, it will be much easier for him to integrate himself, just by, giving that he's playing good at his club level and get called up, and merit that he's playing really good. So there's a lot of stuff, and it will be a big summer for Kaheim Dixon, a big summer for Karoy Anderson. Both players need to reflect, Tyrese Campbell as well. Will he be amongst the Gold Cup squad going forward? This player have fully his documents. Is he naturalized as a Jamaican? I don't know. I don't have that information. But going forward for those three players, it will be a massive, massive summer. What ahead, for those players, especially for Kaheim Dixon. Again, if he goes to the preseason, or if he get called up for the reggaeboyz 23-man squad in the Gold Cup, what will that say? How, go he will definitely go back into that team late for preseason. Maybe go into that team where they already halfway through their pace in preseason, and wondering if this will be a season where the team goes up to championship and the manager look at him like, hey, I need to see more of you. Loan him to a League One team. Let's see if he can manage and wet his feet in that division. Meanwhile, the team is playing in the championship. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen with Kai Dixon. He needs to sit down with his agent, the people that are responsible for his career, and move forward. He needs to make the right decision. Is he going to play academy football next season? I don't think academy football will, will speed up his development and nurture that talent that we know Kyle Dixon have. I think he needs to play in a senior team setup. If it's to go down, to two-tier down, even if it's to go to the National League, yeah, I think it's better play National League two-tier down from the championship rather than play academy football. Playing in the National League, we saw so many players represent teams in the National League in England and get lost. But you have players that, that is a big opportunity for them. They grab it with both hands and they perform and they go back up to the current team and they break through that senior team. So time is running out with Kyle Dixon because, again, Charlton, next season they can find themselves next summer. Yeah, the World Cup year next summer. After the World Cup, they can find themselves playing Premier League football. So we don't know what's going to happen. There's so many different stuff can happen in football at a quick time in the space of 18 months. So good wish Kaim Dixon good luck. Wish Tyrese Campbell good luck. Wish Kerry Anderson good luck. But another player that was a part of a playoff final as well, inside of the Wembley, the home of football, Sheffield United. We heard the stories about the late passing of Kevin Campbell as well. The father of Tyrese Campbell, another Tyrese Campbell as well. His team, he scored the only goal for Sheffield, but his team lost in the final. And you say that was a big shocking result for me. I did not expect Sunderland to get the best of Sheffield United, especially a team that was more on the up more than Sunderland. Sunderland, their last 6 games going to the playoff, they couldn't buy a win as they have done their work like a month before the playoff start to get into the playoff. So again, Tyrese Campbell scored, but what does it say? And I was saying this to someone that if this player get promoted to the Premier League, it will be much more difficult for the reggaeboyz to go out and recruit this player because once a player is representing a team in the Premier League, yeah, he will have it in his back of his mind that one day or somehow he can make this England team going forward with someone, not so much of a good start for him in the championship, but the back end of the season, he started to pick up and he started to score goals and he started to be that main player. And I think Chris Wilder, made a massive mistake and take him off the football pitch. And I think if he was on that pitch, it would have been a lot more threatening, for Sheffield United going forward against a tired, Sunderland team. But with him staying back in the championship, and I heard the coach, the gaffer, Sheffield United coach said, he want to keep the same group of players. He don't want to sell any players. He want to add and build on what he left off at Wembley. And look, it's it's a bad storyline with Sheffield United at Wembley. This is a 10th consecutive final they're losing at Wembley. They just cannot get that monkey off them back of getting that playoff win at Wembley in the final. So again, Chris Wilder is a 10th manager trying to do the 10 different things of what Sheffield tried to do over the years, but it will be a lot more easier. Now is the time that JFF, yeah, the administration board need to go out, because I think if you look at it, of, of all the strikers that the Reggae Boys have, yeah, I think he is that striker that he can bring us to that next level. He's the only one out there that have that big potential. I think he's a really sharp shooter, someone that have a high for goal. And if he prove it that once he stay fit, because that's the next question sign around him, around when he was playing for Stoke, he just couldn't stay fit for the entire season. Can he stay fit for the next championship season? But with a World Cup year coming up, this is the best time, to use the World Cup, market the World Cup. Again, if we qualify for the World Cup, this will be a pivotal player going forward if we can get him. He will be that crucial player, and I think he's such a finesse player inside that box. Where look at the goal that he took away yesterday. That's a true and true number 9 goal. That's a high for the goal. He know exactly where the goal was. He didn't even have to look twice. He know exactly where to put the ball. He know the keeper was going to be off his line. So if we want to be at the next level, if we want to make the next step as a national team, as a federation, and to help boost this national team, is that player that we should go out and try to recruit. And look, it will be a lot more easier, to recruit players, especially if we are getting closer and closer to the World Cup. And you could see our striking pools, it's the quality is fading away, and the better players we can get through the door, it's the better the team can get. Just like we need better coaching staff, we need better gaffer, need better technical director, we need better administration staff. It's the same, So that's my morning inside of people. Rest upon yourself. Thanks for passing through again. For the ones that watching this before I do the live, later today, there will be a live on my channel with me and Daniel again. Rest upon yourself. I think late in the afternoon around 3 p.m. Somewhere around 3 p.m. Jamaican time. So, people, thanks for passing through again. Remember, on your way out, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Salute. Out.